On this, Steve Forbes, Forbes Media Chairman, Editor-in-Chief, and Steve Moore, Committee to Unleash Prosperity, and WABC radio host of More Money. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Steve Forbes, both real average hourly earnings and real average weekly earnings continue to decline under Mr. Biden. As Jerry Willis said, the level of the CPI has increased by nearly 20% since he was inaugurated. And I want to note the CPI is now, for the first 4 months of the year, running at about 4.5% at an annual rate. Retail sales, the core retail sales have fallen in 3 of the last 4 months. I'm just saying it looks to me like a weakening economy and still rising inflation problems. How do you see it?
It is a weakening economy, and I don't think people are going to be impressed. Oh, it may have been 0.2% better than the economists had predicted. What they see is interest rates are high, so the interest you pay on a mortgage, bad. On car loans, bad. Credit cards, bad. People are taking out more debt. And then the Fed has, and this is so crazy, they have a thing called supercore inflation index that they look at, which is up 4.5%, 5%. So, enjoy it while you can, White House. This is not overall a good report. You still have a punk economy, and that's why 100,000 people turned out for your opponent.
Oh, that was Mark Simone's insight. And that panicked Joe Biden into agreeing to a debate, even though they had to cut the video 5 times. Core services CPI, excluding rents, you're quite right, actually 6.3% annually the last 3 months, 4.9% for the past 12 months. Jay Powell has a problem. Steve Moore, I think the solution to the problem would surely be a $5 trillion tax hike. Oh, wait a minute. That's not what I think. But you wrote a good article on what would happen if Biden's reelected. What would happen to the economy if Biden's reelected?
Well, I think it would even be worse than what he's done an encore would be worse than the first term. So I'll just knock some of these off. Doubling of the capital gains tax. How do you like that idea, Steve Forbes? I mean, it'd kill investment.
Unrealized gains.
Taxing unrealized, taxing unrealized gains, which has never happened before in history. He would take the corporate rate up. He would increase the dividend tax. Now, there's other things that I'm convinced that he will do if he wins. I think the Democrats will pack the Supreme Court. I think they'll try to add 2 to 4 more. Right. I think they will get rid of the filibuster because there's no more cinema and there's no more Manchin in the Senate. I think they will make D.C. and Puerto Rico states. In other words, I think they're going to rig the deck so that the economy can't make a comeback. There's one other thing, Larry. Biden and his allies are saying there's $2 trillion more they've wanted to spend, but those evil Republicans wouldn't let them spend it. So you had another $2 trillion on the debt. I think this is a recipe for total disaster. The tax on $1 million investment, if you make $1 million on the investment, a 70% tax. When you add the corporate tax, the capital gains tax, the unrealized capital gains, that will destroy investment.
You know, Steve Forbes, on these points, Biden makes this silly distinction. He said if you're under 400,000, you're not going to feel any tax hikes. First of all, that's 200,000 per person in a married couple. So they're each going to get hit because that's the way the tax code works. But actually, if you raise the capital gains tax, both realized and unrealized, if you raise the corporate tax, if you raise the top personal tax rate, which is what small businesses pay, if you end the deduction for small businesses, the write-off that Senator Johnson put in years ago, you're going to stop investment and capital formation, which is going to damage business and wage earners. In other words, ordinary blue-collar wage earners and lower-income workers would get slaughtered. This 400,000 number is a red herring to obscure the fact that the rest of it is going to really damage middle-class people.
Yes, they're going to pay the price. And also, there's that 20% tax called inflation, the hidden tax, which has hit people and which people respond to. And so this whole thing is preposterous. If he does a fraction of what Steve Moore outlined, we're not going to just have a slow economy. We're going to have a severe recession or depression. It's going to be on a scale of what happened in 1929, 1930 with Smoot-Hawley and all the other dumb things they did back then, big tax increases and the like. So this has got global implications, and I think the Republicans have to hit hard. They also are in the process of taking over American health care through regulations and the like. And they just got rid of the nice little thing where you could buy a health insurance policy, bare bones for a year if you're between jobs. They slaughtered that one. So they're going after it, picking, and they're doing so many regulations, it's hard to keep up on it. And this is all going to weigh in 2025 when all this stuff hits the fan. Plus, when summertime comes, the only good thing is they won't allow air conditioning, so maybe Washington Congress will get out early.
But let me add something to what Steve Forbes said. There's a good Wall Street Journal editorial the other day that showed that they want to expand the role of your favorite housing security agencies, the
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
They want to have the United States government, Steve Forbes, guarantee home equity loans.
Right.
Now, wait a minute. That doesn't expand home ownership. That's just taking. Now, here we have Americans that are, up to their shoulders in debt. This has encouraged people more. And here's the sinister thing about this. This would pump $1 to $2 trillion more spending into the economy. When? In the late summer months and fall. This is pump priming. It is such a cynical device. And who's on the going to pay for all this? American
I think
taxpayers.
it's an interesting point. Mortgage lenders in the private sector, there aren't a lot of them, but will become too big to fail.
Yes, they
that
sure
came
would.
out of the Treasury when they had their board meeting. Steve Forbes, why is Joe Biden? This is a serious question. Joe Biden now, almost, I guess, on a daily basis, is saying he inherited a 9% inflation rate. Now, is this just a matter of statistics? Right? Who produces this? The BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, produces the CPI.
No, and this is where if that June 27th debate takes place, whether the moderators are going to call him out on it.
I mean,
and
they
Trump
will
call him out on it.
Jake Tapper will.
And that's why I think this could be Biden's downfall. They're doing a Hail Mary.
Let's hope
the
so.
guy do it. He did it on State of the Union where they pumped him up and he could feed off a live audience and he could have all of those words in front of him, read them, and look like he's energetic and yell. A lot of yelling.
God knows how they pumped him up with what.
Well, they should take it to the FDA because all of us would know that.
That's exactly right. Deregulate the FDA. Yeah, I get it.
You know what the inflation rate was actually the month?
Yes.
1.5%.
The 12-month change was 1.4%. Everyone's looked it up.
Before Biden took off.
Yes.
So there's a big difference between 1.5% and 9%.
I just don't understand how he just keeps doing it.
I think that's why their Democrats behind the scenes are starting to worry.
I do too.
He had that huge rally. He keeps saying what everyone knows is false. He wasn't called out on TV on CNN, but everyone else is going to call him out on it. And Trump's certainly going to call him out on it in the debate.
Now, you have said steadfastly that he won't be the nominee.
I don't think he will be the nominee.
I've said the same thing.
You were looking good for a while. Then it seemed like Biden was in. Now you're looking good again. It's all. It may be up for grabs.
There's no way he could do a debate. No way he could survive a real debate.
Wow. What do you think, Steve?
I hope that Steve Forbes is wrong.
Yeah.
I hope you're wrong because we want to run. We want to run against Biden.
Kamala
but
Harris.
I still think that you could see a Gavin Newsom or something. Look, the Democrats, are they really going to put Joe Biden out there? He might not even be able to get through an hour-and-a-half debate. One other quick point about inflation that Jerry made. If you take into account the real inflation rate, what I call the middle class inflation rate, closer to 24 to 25%.
Really?
That is an absolute killer. And don't forget, the capital gains tax is not indexed to inflation.
You'll have to explain to us the 24%
I just mean
inflation
food,
rate.
the things that people have to buy, up 24 to 25%.
24 to 25. Steve Forbes and Steve Moore, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.